My mother-in-law is calling me defective because I can't have children and forbade me from marrying her son. When he didn't defend me, I packed my bags and left the country. I can never get pregnant, but this has never been an issue in my relationship with my fiancé. We talked about it years ago and agreed there were alternatives, so we didn't care. But his mom cared. She somehow found out I can't have children and confronted me about it. She forbade me from marrying her son because I couldn't provide him with children. She didn't let me get a word in, and now I found out she's telling all her family members not to attend our future wedding because she doesn't want her son marrying someone defective who can't give him what she thinks he wants or needs. Now, I don't want her at my wedding for fear of her doing or saying something to ruin the event. My fiancé, on the other hand, said that while he loves his mother, he is torn as to whether to invite her or not. I pleaded for him to talk some sense into her, to tell her we didn't want kids, and he agreed that was the best thing to do. So, he and his dad went to talk to her. Well, she won. He came home to tell me he wanted kids, and if I couldn't provide them, the wedding was off. I said, "That sounds like your mother, not you." He replied with, "I can speak for myself." This quickly escalated into a bunch of shouting at each other, and I was so angry that he had changed his mind that I packed a bag and went to my parents for the evening. Since this relationship was as good as dead, I decided to give a 2-month notice at work on Monday, and then move to Germany, where I'm originally from. Only my parents knew this, so I was really surprised when my ex came over to talk. We had a brief chat in which he said he was sorry, and I told him I was moving back home to Germany soon. He started to tear up, and so did I. We were both crying and started hugging, and as we were hugging, he slowly moved his hands down my back and down to my butt. He grabbed a handful of my butt cheek and squeezed it, asking if we could go for one last time. As soon as it registered in my brain what he was doing, I stepped back and slapped him in the face. My hand still stings from the force of it. He staggered back and I just pointed to the door and yelled, "Get out!" I told him I would rather go celibate for life rather than let him touch me again. I shouldn't have let him hug me in the first place, but it was a weak moment and I know not to let him do that again. He looked shocked at me and hung his head and just walked out the door. After I heard him get in his car, start it, and drive off, I broke down in tears. My father came into the room to find me crying and hugged me. My mother came in a while later and fixed us all something to drink for when I calmed down. Update: I left America on March 1st and flew to Germany. Apparently my ex has been having a hard time with this. He sent a few letters to my parents' house and sat out in the front yard a couple times. I actually spoke to him one time this happened. I told him, "I understand you're out in my parents' front yard. Well, I'm not there, so please leave them alone." He said he hoped the rumors weren't true and hoped I was still in America so we could talk. I reminded him that when we tried that, he grabbed my butt and acted as if sex would solve everything. He went quiet, so I asked him why he dumped me. He said he had to do whatever his mom said, and she wasn't happy when she found out I couldn't have children. I told him he was 32 and didn't need to do whatever his mom said anymore. And besides, we had discussed the problem before and had come up with solutions which apparently aren't satisfactory to her. I told him because of her, he threw our relationship away. I asked if it meant that little to him. He just said, "You didn't have to go away. When are you coming back?" I told him I wasn't, to which he pleaded, but I remained firm that he chose his mom over me, and he needed to live with that. I told him that if he had defended me, I would still be in America. I think that broke him, because he kept quietly whispering sorry over and over. I told him that I still loved him and wanted him to do well in life and move on, but that it was over between us. I laid on the bed and quietly cried after that, and now I'm waiting for when I could put my life back together.